Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Franchise Vibes. And today, the vibe we're on is resale vibes. So, we're going to be discussing strategies, brand access, and coaching with a multi unit franchisee. So, please welcome our guest, Karriem Kanston. Karriem, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Tamika, and thank you for inviting me again.
Yes, I know. Again, you're right. So this is the first time that Karriem is on Franchise Vibes. He has appeared on here because I know that we use some of the video from our webinars from before, but he appeared on our webinar. I want to say it's like 2 years ago now. Yeah, for in February for Black History, and we said that we would need to do something else together. So I'm glad that we were able to make this happen, because I do get a lot of questions when it comes to resales, and so I think that this would be a great addition to the channel. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us about just a little bit about your journey into entrepreneurship and what led you to become a franchise owner.
So I'm originally from Queens, New York, and my father, family, friends, and a lot of people who were in, and it's still huge in New York, is selling stuff on the streets, right? Hot dog stands, you got people selling goods and services. And so my father and his friends, they always will sell stuff as vendors in New York City. So it could be anything from pillows, watches, umbrellas, all types of stuff that they used to
Okay.
sell in New York. So I guess that's where the entrepreneurship vibe is. And I think a lot of people have, some people like, well, none of my family was entrepreneurs. I beg to differ. If you think about people in your family, people probably were entrepreneurial, even though they might have had a job, because you have to be entrepreneurial also to work for people too. So sometimes,
Yes, right.
so got into the franchising world in 2021. I moved from Rhode Island to, well, before I moved from Rhode Island to here in North Carolina, Triangle area. We were going to buy a business anyway. And so we started putting offers on independent businesses. And then we were like, hey, let's look at franchising. And we landed on, what do we spend money on? Well, we spend money on pizza. So we decided to go with a Little Caesars pizza franchise, and not do a new one, but buy a resale. And we bought
Mhm.
two resales within 6 months of each other.
Okay. Well, that's why I like doing this too, because how did I not know that you're originally from New York? I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, Queens, New York. Okay. I mean, I'm in Brooklyn, as everybody
Yeah.
knows. I'm Brooklyn,
Yeah.
Brooklynite. Trinity.
And I lived in Brooklyn for a number of years too. Flatbush.
I'm in Flatbush. Since I would call myself the Brooklyn Trinity. So yeah, I'm right here. I'm in Flatbush. So
Yes,
so
yes.
funny. I did not know that.
Eastern
Um,
Parkway, yo.
yes, Eastern Parkway. Yes, and I'm on the Parkway still when it comes time for Labor Day. So you purchased a resale. Um, can you share how that opportunity came about and why you decided to go that route versus a new build or a startup? Like how did you manage to decide that it was going to be a resale?
So we started with, let's do a new franchise. And then we were like, man, that's a lot of money. Three why at that time it was like average 350, $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, do we really want to do a new
Mm-hmm.
franchise? It's gonna take a long time to start up, build outs. And I'm like, nah, let's see if we could buy something, turn it around, for
Mm,
lower costs. And we saw one for that was listed for 200 grand. They dropped it down to 125,000. So we decided to go and buy that unit. And there's opportunities out there for resales. They might not always
mm-hmm.
be on the market, but
Right.
I'm gonna tell you right now, any business owner that has the right price, or a business owner that's looking get out of their business,
Mm-hmm.
approach them and come up with a whatever opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
both of them, then you could have it. So like, put it this way, if I wanted to go buy 20, 40, 60 Little Caesars right now, I can go buy
Mm-hmm.
it. It might not be even listed. I just have to call the
Right.
people that own it, because people are always looking to sell. And then they have
Mm,
also, what our franchise, they have an internal listing where you could post if you're looking to sell a store. So my current store, so I sold my first store in September, and I currently have one store now. I have that listed on the internal um, uh, listing to see if
Mm-hmm.
somebody inside wants to buy it. We bought it to flip it. So that was our goal, to buy it, turn around and flip the store.
Okay. So you know what? You said a couple of things, because what I usually caution people with when they do come to me, because I have access to resales as well, right? But what people fail to realize is that oftentimes, or normally, it would be that, well, you have to come a little more capital strong if you're looking for a resale, because of the fact that, it's already running. It already has, there's certain things, if they're selling it at, if they're in that position, they're selling it, depending, I guess, why they're selling it. It's going to be a little bit more at a premium because of the cash that's coming in. You usually have to account for that. But some of the things that you said, and maybe you can speak a little bit more to it, is the fact that you went in looking for a deal, but knowing that it's something that maybe you can turn around. Am I hearing you correctly? Like, did you get it? Did you focus on someone that was just in that position that needed to sell, so they were willing to go lower, and maybe they weren't making the type of money that needed to be made at that time, but you knew you can come in and change that around? Or just tell, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you tell us.
No. So there are certain businesses that you could buy less than you could start it. And
Mm-hmm.
and and I would say, well, quick service restaurants, usually you could buy less than what it took to start.
Okay.
Unless you're buying a premium high functioning unit. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, if you took a 1,500 or 2,000 square foot Little Caesars with nothing in it's a vanilla box. It's going to cost you probably $500,000 to start. With the equipment, with the rehab, if you're buying new equipment, if you're not like somebody that has equipment already, it's going to cost you $500,000. So, all right, great. And people go that route because of people like new stuff and they want to put it in a new territory. But you might be able to
Mm-hmm.
find something for maybe 200 grand
Mm-hmm.
that's doing the sales of a brand new unit or
Okay.
territory. So I tell people there's opportunities out there. Or let's say, for instance, the play could be where I've seen a lot of people play is that they start a new franchise, but they play is that they want to acquire more territories or
Right.
units.
Mm-hmm.
That's a play also that people don't think about, right? And I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it because I've sometimes get involved with coaching people that just signed a franchise agreement, is that they buy a territory knowing that there's other territories around that once they get in a franchise, they're going to go and offer to buy those territories or units also.
Right, right. I'm familiar. Okay, so what should someone know before considering a resale? What are some pros and cons from your experience?
So I would say pros, you got cash flow coming in day one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that we wanted to have. As soon as we bought a business, we had money coming in. And how I got the bug, I was doing some work for a program called Goldman Sachs, and down to small businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing business owners growing their business, seeing them how they was going to exit their business, and some of those people didn't have an exit strategy, and how we helped them out was like, hey, what are you going to do in 5-10 years to exit your business? Some of it was sell it, give it to family members, um, and then some of the people were growing the value so they can sell the business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Mm-hmm.
some of the people like, I wish I could. If somebody give me the right price, I would sell my business. So I'm like, if those people are saying that, there's other people that are looking for that opportunity also. So
Okay.
I tell people the pros is that franchising has a concept, usually a proven concept already. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the challenges are you're taking over business that somebody else has ran before. So
Right.
whatever has happened before, you're gonna inherit it. And I can tell you
Right.
right now, if you're not a person that want to inherit somebody else's culture or somebody else's business and deal with the stuff after, guess what? Then
Mm-hmm.
resales might not be for you. Even if you
Right.
do something new, guess what? You're gonna create a culture
Right.
now is going to be great, bad, whatever. So, um, what I like about the resales is that it taught me stuff very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doing a new build, if especially in this retail space, you got build out, you got permits. This one, mostly all that stuff was done when you transfer over that business. One day somebody else owned it, the next day you own it. So it was a quick learning piece of everything, you know. It wasn't like, hey, you know what, we was gonna hire staff for the first time and blah blah blah. And we was keeping some of the staff. Some of the staff we have
Hmm.
to let go, you know. So it really depends. But you know what, you're gonna learn whatever if you're gonna do a new franchise or resale.
Right, right. So as a multi-unit owner, how did you scale? And what did you learn from managing more than one location?
I've learned uh get your leadership first, you know.
Mm,
We did that with our first store. We got our leadership first. Our second store, because we were buying somebody else's store, they had some people in place. I still should have probably still worked on hiring a manager first, um, and keeping consistent. But a lot of people in certain industries are dealing with trying to get leaders. Leaders. I could teach people how to make pizza. I need,
mm-hmm,
and so my second store, we've always had not being consistent with leadership, you know. And so
mm,
some of it we've trained people and they rose up the ranks, but my manager, the manager position has always been a tough one, you know, for us.
mm,
So I tell people, you know what, you're the owner and you just got to figure it out. I mean, what I do like about multi-unit ownership, I can't be at two places at once. So
mm-hmm.
after a while, people have to figure it out themselves, right? And that's one of the things that I've learned now. If I would have had to do it all over again, I probably would have did 5 units or 6 units at one time versus doing one and then another one, and you know.
Mm, okay. All right. It's interesting. So what kind of support or transition came with resale from the previous owner or the franchisor?
The previous owner, he was an owner that they were ready to get out of the franchise. He was the owner that was ready to get out of the franchise himself. So it was like a mutual relationship.
Okay.
And he didn't run the store like I was going to run the store, so there was no need for him to be around, you know.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now the support from our franchise, now this totally different, many different franchises, very helpful. They have a big staff. They've been around since 1959. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they have people to help you out. They have, you know, franchise consultants and zone people you can call. And then what I like about it, I call all the franchise people. Soon as I came into the franchise, I introduced myself to everybody that was around me
Okay. Makes
because
sense.
you always need help. You always need help. So if you try to go it alone all the time, you know, it's going to be tough. So when sales dip, I call other franchisees and say, "Hey, what's going on with your sales?" They might say, "My sales dip also." So now it feels like it just wasn't me.
Right.
It's like it was the industry as a whole. Like there was one week earlier this year that our sales, you know, went down. I called a guy. He owns stores in California and in North Carolina. His sales dipped also. So he's like, "Hey, I don't know why they just did. Maybe it's the economy, you know."
Mm-hmm. And I can imagine on the flip side, if just to even find out things that some tips or just particular things, not just problem areas, but just to be able to go back into that network as well for different type of support.
That's right. That's right. Or to get, like you said, hey, what are you doing about marketing? What are you doing
Right.
about this? Or my internet went down and it wasn't my fault. It was my provider. And people like stay open, take cash, don't close down, even though most of your sales is online. You know, just give
Hmm.
people the option to order their pizza, go get cash and come back. So
So we're going to transition a little bit into the coaching area. This is something I just got familiar with myself, being certified. So you're also a certified coach helping entrepreneurs. What common challenges do you see with business owners, especially in our community? And how do you help them overcome them?
so I would say the biggest challenge for a lot of people, they don't think getting a coach is important.
Hmm.
They think it's a huge expense. Why should I pay it? It doesn't, I know everything. I'm the owner. I don't have to listen to nobody else. But guess what? Y'all love Michael Jordan, right? Y'all love the great football players. Y'all love the great tennis, Serena Williams, and all these great sports people. Guess what they had? Coaches. They didn't have
Right.
they had coaches. Why do you have a coach? Your coach should be helping you to be the best in the areas that you're the best in, and then hopefully it can help you to look at the gaps that you have. And it might not be reducing the gaps. It may be helping you increase your strengths. And then the things that you have gaps in, you get other people to help you with it. And so what happens is that before I even before I before I bought my first franchise, I had a pizza coach that was in franchising.
Okay.
Right? He saved me $50,000. I paid him $750 a month. He saved me $50,000 out of
Mm.
my investment of $750 a month that I was working with him. Why? Because he knew something that I didn't know. He knew that
Yeah.
the business, the second unit I was going to buy, the guy got it in a package. And so he probably wasn't looking for a lot of money for that business. So our
Hmm.
price got reduced by $50,000 just by asking questions he gave us to ask that owner.
Ah, I see. I see.
So we might be thinking coaches are an expense, but we should be looking at it. It's an investment.
It is an investment. It's absolutely an investment. So those are great points. Thanks for sharing that. I want to touch on the funding because this is another thing that I get every now and then about grants and things of that nature,
Mhm.
which I know that, I'm a little bit like, don't go in looking for the grants, but if you have something, I would love for that to be shared. So you assist business owners with grants.
Yeah.
What are some grants that Black entrepreneurs often overlook or don't know about?
So I tell people, my new phrase instead of using grants is look for free money that you don't have to pay back. Right? Look for
Okay.
free money you don't have to pay back in interest or a loan. So just imagine you are starting a franchise and you're
Mhm.
going to hire people, right? And there's going to be a payroll expense no matter what. You need those people to operate their business. Just imagine you could find free money you don't have to pay back to cover those people's hourly wage for a certain amount of hours. That's what we did
Yep.
with our first franchise. We got a business grant when we hired our first manager to cover, I think, maybe 300 to 400 hours of his payroll expense. Right.
Okay.
So, I tell people, yes, you got to be patient because the stuff doesn't come that quick all the time. Sometimes it does. But
Hmm.
if you're going to have an expense for your business and you can offload that expense to another funding source that you don't have to pay back, why not try and do that? What
Right.
happens with us, right? People from our community, right? We go and we say, "Hey, man, I'm a minority. I'm an underrepresented person, and I need XYZ funding." Blah blah blah. And the people are like, man, everybody's asking me that question. What you're
Hmm.
not asking, do you have a resource that you can help me out to take care of this expense or the service for my business? And those people will
Now,
help you out, right? And so right now, I'm about to hire a manager, right?
uh
It's taking me a couple weeks, but hopefully I'm going to get another grant approved to hire the general manager to cover 75% of her hourly wage
hmm
for 300 to 500 hours when she comes on board. And so I rather see if I could get that expense covered from an entity that's going to give me a grant.
Now listen, see now that's what I'm talking about. That's strategic.
Mm,
And that's different. I want everybody out there, I want y'all to hear me. what what you're talking about is different from what the expectations that people I think that people are just looking like they're thinking that they could come in with no money or little money and get grants to purchase or to invest in a franchise. But what you're saying is, and it's very strategic because even I would say even with some people that I'm speaking with, you know, consistently, sometimes there's they're not considering all the different types of expenses that you're going to take, which, like you
mm,
said, payroll is one. So when you think of that investment range, when you're thinking about, I would say that, yeah, the investment range, um, think about the fact that if you're going into a business where you're going to need employees, you're going to need to pay those employees. So if there's particular grants that's going to take care of particular parts within the business, not saying that you're going to come in with your hands swinging, like as I would say, you're not going to come in with no money. There's no grant to get you a franchise. However, I like what you're saying because you're telling us that there's grants out there to take care of particular parts of the expenses that you're going to incur if you're
that's
going to
right.
this. So that's a very strategic way of looking into it, and it's very important. So
Let me give you another one, right? So I'm here, Raleigh Triangle area, and they have a grant that will help you actually rehab or put up a sign in your business location.
Okay.
I already knew that I wasn't eligible for this grant. Guess what I still did? I still picked up the phone. Hello, city. How you doing? You know, I'm taking over this Little Caesars franchise in the city. I know I don't meet the eligibility criteria, but what resources do you have for me? Even though I'm not eligible, I still made a connection with that person. I wasn't eligible for the grant because it was new rehab space that you would have to do, but they were giving out, and they still do 4 times a year, $15,000, $20,000 for you to go into a space in a certain area of the community to set up a retail store. So if you're a franchise owner and you're going to have to rehab space or go and build out space, you might be able to get from your city or your state or town a rehab grant. Like, people are not thinking that way, right? It's like, man, I'm gonna drop, you know, 200 grand on this rehab. Yeah, but guess what? If you could get some of that money back, you know, like this lady opened up a Deal Thinkers franchise that I help get grants in Florida. I'm like, listen, let's start calling the city. Do y'all have a grant for rehab? They had a grant for rehab, but they just wasn't dispersing it during the time she was doing her build out. But I said, listen, hey, next time you go for another build out because you're going to do another unit, I say keep these people's contact information in your Rolodex or your whatever, your CRM, right? You know.
Your Rolodex.
I know, right? That's old school. That's old school stuff. But what I want people to know, right? You're talking to Tamika. She's walking you through a process. Stop thinking about the funding first. Think about, do you want to do this or not? Because the funding will come.
Listen, I did not tell people to say this. I'm thank you.
You're welcome. Because people are like, that's what I thought. Man, I'm gonna have to drop XYZ dollars, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, do I want to do this or not? Yes. All right. Now then you figure out the funding. You don't know.
Are you ready?
That's right.
Are you ready to do this? Is this, because fear is a big factor. I run into that a lot.
Listen, my second unit, I had a guy that offered to give me all of the money to buy the second unit.
Wow.
We didn't take the deal, but he like, I was like, we need 100 grand. He was like, all right, I'll give it to you, but I want 50% of the business. You know, we didn't all agree to it, so we didn't take his money. But just think about that. He didn't know me from Adam. I just called him up, saw him in a magazine, saw that he owned 40 Little Caesars. Come to find out, he's a real estate investor looking to invest in many different stuff.
Okay. That goes back to even back in my desk. I still say the same thing now. Like, the worst they can say is no.
That's right. The worst they can say is no.
So for someone who's brand new to grants, what's the first step you recommend that they take?
First, you gotta develop a roadmap, what you're trying to do. You know, I tell people, even with current business owners that are operating, I said, let's set up a meeting and develop a roadmap. What are you trying to achieve? And then we can figure out if there's grants out there. What happens is that people say, oh, I just need $50,000. Yeah, but like, what are you going to use it for? Because some of those funds, or you might be able to get a service. So like, for instance, if I was getting into franchising, you're going to have some legal fees. There might be a nonprofit entrepreneurship organization in your community that actually has a program that they will pay an attorney to help you with legal fees for documents or stuff like that. Or maybe they pay people already. So they got to think strategically about what you're doing, right?
Right.
And set up that roadmap, So like, if I'm, an entrepreneur, I know that it's going to cost some expenses to be a business owner. Maybe there's an organization that would pay directly that service or give me a scholarship for something. So right now, I do some advising for a program here in North Carolina. You're starting up a business, they'll give you 3 grants of $500 to start your business. And that's for startups.
Okay. And now, this will be airing for Black Business Month. So as we celebrate Black Business Month, what does Black ownership and economic empowerment mean to you?
Black ownership means to me that we have an opportunity to grow our wealth and our stature,
Mm.
that especially if you're from cultures that were brought over to lands without you being asked to come to the Americas, that we have an opportunity. We might not level the playing field, but we're gonna increase the playing field with us being involved in it, right? So and just being, transparent. The people that own our grocery stores will probably don't look like us. The people that own
Mm-hmm.
the gas stations don't look like us. The people that mostly own the food places that serve us probably don't look like us. Why can't we just not be the managers, but be the owners in businesses
Mm-hmm.
in our own community? Why?
Mm.
They know the value. Why you think McDonald's is where McDonald's is, and Burger King and Popeyes and Church's Chicken, and why you think they are where they are? Because they know that our communities have the money. How about we own the stuff in our community, and now we can employ our family and we can take care of other people's family. But we think it's so far away, out of our reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my franchise, when they say, "Yeah, we very diverse," you know what they were talking about? Asian
Mm-hmm.
people, the Asian
Mm-hmm.
community. They wasn't talking about Black folks, right? So mostly people that own Little Caesars franchise, that's from, we call underrepresented communities, are Indian people.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple, right? Why can't we own? And I've tried to do it. Like, I've offered my managers in my current store, like, buy this business. I'll work with you. I'll hold a note, whatever. Oh, it's unattainable. My credit's not great. I didn't talk to you about your credit not being great, or it's unattainable. I said, I'll work with you. But then you got to have the mindset.
You absolutely have to have the mindset, and understand that there are opportunities out there. So right now, I mean, I know you just now you touched on a lot of different businesses to own, but we stayed in food, and I get that because you're in food, but which is why I try to bring the awareness that there's so many.
It's
There's
so
so
many
many,
service. So let me tell you right now, I'm thinking about, I need to buy me a home service business. Plain and
and
simple.
you will be calling who to do that?
That's right. We're calling Tamika
Okay, this was
right.
checking.
So like service, I mean, I pick food just because that's what I naturally saw. But if I had to do
Right.
anything, I would pick a service business. Plain and simple. Right. The food business did not fit my lifestyle. Unless I
Mhm.
had somebody else running it. So there's vending machine franchises,
Mhm.
there's picking up dog poop franchises, there's
Yes.
home healthcare franchise. Just talked to a lady. There's, all types of stuff, marketing. So just don't settle on food, because food is no joke, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I mean,
Uh-huh.
open up 7 days a week. You make your money mostly at night. Unless you're in a
Mhm.
breakfast franchise, it's a lot. And the capital, like you said, is no joke.
Mhm. Yeah, that's definitely take its time and money, but it's definitely doable. But understand, especially you touched on the whole, like, sometimes you think it's out of reach. Well, the reason why is because we might be thinking about just one industry,
That's
where
right.
maybe for that it would be, but there's so many others that it wouldn't be. So I'm glad that we touched on that as well. So, what do you think are some of the biggest opportunities? I feel like we just touched on that, but the biggest opportunities right now for Black entrepreneurs in franchising or business more broadly?
So I would say, I don't want to pick out a franchise, but
Hmm.
I would say Neighborly has a good resale program, uh,
Hmm.
run by her brother, Brian. Well, that's right. He was on the.
Yeah, I know. So Brian has also been on our webinars as well, and I'm a big fan of Neighborly as well. I show a lot of their brands because of um, I can share some of the things that you're going to touch on, but they have the longevity. They're
Yes,
very
yes.
established. There's a lot of cross marketing, and some of the home services, like, they're just there. So when I do my consultations and I hear those buzzwords as far as some of those transferable skills and just even the lifestyle that you're looking for. If home services is one, I would definitely, that's just one of the brands I'm definitely going to be looking at to pull some businesses for people. So yeah, so it sounds like you're saying home services.
Home services is huge. I've
Mhm.
seen talked to a guy recently. He has contracts with assisted living facilities, just finding clients to move in.
Mhm.
Like, what? No,
Mhm.
it's just him. He's just fine. So there's many things out there. There's been stuff that you might not have spend that much time in the operations also, So I would say sit down with Tamika and then do an assessment about what you're trying to do, what you like. Also I would tell people do a personality style inventory about your personality style and your goals and your dreams, because there's many opportunities out there and that really could fit into the lifestyle that you're looking to live. Or you might keep your full-time job and still own a
Yeah.
franchise, which I see a lot of people do that also.
Yeah, and there's a lot of opportunities there. And I would also say, be open. Don't come in thinking that you already know exactly, what you want to do or where be open, because you mentioned one, right? Some of these businesses, they're not the sexy business, you know what I mean? But is that your focus? Like, there's quite a few with it, as far as like in the pet industry, like you said, picking up dog poop and stuff like that. You're not the person to do it.
Right.
What most franchises are going to be looking for is leaders. As you touched on that earlier, they need leaders. So if you can lead a team, if you're good at that, project management, things of that nature, you know, be a little bit open to the type of business, because a lot of these businesses are doing extremely well. And you could be seeing or doing business with franchises and not even realize that that is a franchise.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to someone considering buying franchise, especially if they're unsure of where to start or whether they can afford it?
I would say, well, I think I said it before, meet with Tamika,
Yes.
do an
I
assessment.
swear that wasn't a setup. I just didn't
Yeah,
forget.
yeah. I would say meet with you, do an assessment. Meet with a broker, right?
Mhm.
They have all the research. They have a lot of good information about the brands. Well, you have to make the decision. They could give you some information, but ultimately, you have to make that decision for yourself
Yeah.
and your family of whoever's doing it. And I would do some research yourself. See what
Mhm.
people are talking about the brands and stuff like that.
Exactly. If you could go back to start your entrepreneurial journey, what would you do differently? Or what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self to get more funding partners
Mm,
and more partners, especially if you're in a brand that takes a lot of labor, to get some other people that can help you out with the labor part. So instead of you getting all the calls, somebody else getting all the calls. And I don't care who tells you that you could be a franchise owner and you will never do anything in the business. You could be hands off. A lot of people are selling that false information. If your name is on a business, as an owner, you might get a call for something. Plain and simple. I don't care if you got a manager, a regional manager, you pay. Listen, if you're owner, I, that's the
you
wrong.
gotta have a pulse on the business. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
it's still your business. Yeah.
that's right. Unless you're a limited partner, like I have a limited partner, he's not coming to run shifts, but he's still an owner.
Mhm. So this was some great information, and you definitely have a lot of great information, especially when it comes to like that grant support. And my audience could connect with you on LinkedIn, correct?
Yeah, sure. Go look me up, Karriem Kanston on LinkedIn.
All right. And that information will be there available. And of course, any of our guests, anyone that you do see on here, you're welcome to also to reach out directly to ask about any of our guests that we have here. And especially when it comes to any of the brands or just finding out more about ownership in the franchise industry. So as we wrap things up, want to grab your final thoughts. What one What's one piece of encouragement or motivation you'd like to leave aspiring entrepreneurs with?
I would say trying is better than not trying,
Okay.
because if you haven't tried it, you can't say it works or not.
All right. Well, I think that's a great way to end it. Karriem, thank you so much. I love that we got to explore this topic, especially I mean, obviously it could be for anyone, but I do like this topic, on time for Black Business Month as well. Well, there's another one. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm so glad, again, we touched on some resales. We even touched on grants, which some of you have asked me about, funding, coaching even. So anyone that's interested, wants to know more, feel free to reach out to me at precisionfranchise.com.